Hey guys, Sam here for Sam Does That. Just a quick guide today on getting started with GuideGuide, which is one of my favourite plugins for Adobe Photoshop CS6. Okay, so first and foremost, GuideGuide. Just going to jump straight into this one here. GuideGuide is a really great tool because it allows you to basically create guide templates pretty much kind of exactly as you kind of see on screen. You literally hit a button and it creates a guide for you. The great thing about it is you don't actually need to enter in all of the details that you might need to in, say for example, other software. It kind of figures out a lot of stuff for you and does a lot of the heavy lifting. So in this example here, I've got a bit of an odd sort of layout. I've got this left column on the far left, which is about 325 pixels wide, and then I've got about 1140 pixels on the far right, which is our main content. And I really want to build the rest of the design around a grid on the far right and completely exclude the left bar. The way that I can do that is I can actually offset it with GuideGuide with a margin. So what I'm going to do is over here I'm going to show you the features of GuideGuide. First and foremost, once you've installed the plugin and got it loaded into your window here, you'll see that there's two buttons. There's grid and sets. Sets allows you to actually save specific sets if you decide to reuse those again in future designs. For now we're just going to be concentrating on the grid because we've got kind of a bit of a custom setup here. Here we've got the margins. This is the top, the bottom, the left and the right margins. You can specify margins specific to your design which are going to be tailored to you. So as you can see here, we've got this 325 pixel bar, and if I pull out the ruler here, I think it's about 325 pixels wide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to define here, because I know this, I'm going to define here that this is 325 pixels and this is already filled in, but again, same procedure. Far right here I've got a difference of around 75 pixels. So again, I'm going to fill in 75 pixels there. This defines how many columns you actually want. So that's the number of columns area. Because I'm working on Foundation, or will be moving this into Foundation when it comes to developing it, I'm going to be working from a 12 column layout. So here in the number of columns area, I'm going to be typing 12. If I wanted rows, or if I wanted to divide my layout up on a horizontal basis, or rather a vertical basis, I could enter the amount of rows that I want there and it would create them evenly. But again, I'm not too interested in that, and neither am I interested in row height nor row gutter, because I just want to concentrate on the kind of horizontal sort of areas down here. This specifies the column width. Now the interesting thing about this is, because I've already defined my columns, when I hit the GuideGuide button, GuideGuide will actually figure out the width of the column based on the facts that I've actually plugged in already. So it's going to figure out how far a distance I've got between here and the end of the document, and then it's going to create 12 aptly sized columns for me without me needing to enter in the column width. So I'm going to leave that blank. However, if you weren't fussed about the amount of columns you wanted but had a set column width in mind, you could enter that as nothing and enter the exact column width in here, and it would generate the amount of columns that you require, which is really nice. But like I said, because we want 12 columns and I don't know how big they're going to be, that'll sort it out for me. The one thing that I do want though is a 20 pixel gutter between each one of those columns, so I've entered in 20 pixels here in the column gutter area. So now when I hit GuideGuide button, it actually creates the guides for me, and as you can see, it's offset to the left. This one guide here, which is basically dictating this margin, and again it's got my right margin around about right there as well. If I had entered that in exactly as it is, which I think is about 80 pixels, that would have got it smack bang on. But aside from that, it's looking pretty good. So I can actually rearrange all of my layout according to this now and be comfortable in the know that I was conforming to a grid, and when I move to development it's not going to be a pain to get it all sorted out. So that's GuideGuide for you. Like I said, really nice little tool.